today we're going to be answering a very important question that a lot of people may have, and that's how much does it cost to start dirt track racing, or answer the question, how much did it cost me? We answer that right now. What's up, guys? My name's Tommy Demzell, Hit You Good Motors. I love America, horsepower, fighting for the Second Amendment, turning left and going fast. Well, it's my first year out there on the dirt track, so we're still working on the going fast part, but we're getting there. So you've all heard the saying, how do you make a small fortune in racing? Well, you start with a large one. There aren't many sports or pastimes that require the amount of funds, equipment, and let's be honest, at times just plain luck than racing does. In one of my previous videos I mentioned it, but I'll say it here again, that I was watching a video from Kenny Wallace more than a year ago, and he said you don't have to have a ton of money to go racing. Now, I know what you're thinking, that does sound crazy. Racing has always been expensive and will continue to be, but to add some context to Kenny's monologue, you have to have money, but you don't need to be super rich to get started, and I'm going to prove that today. So if you're looking at getting started in racing, I'm going to give you a very general rundown of what it costs me to get to the track. Now there's, of course, a ton of variables involved in this, such as where you live, what class you're racing in, and if you have a desire for new equipment or not, or used equipment. But before I tally this laundry list of expenses together, I need to give a brief shout out to the National Association for Gun Rights. Now I want to take just a quick moment to remind you that the Hit You Good Motors racing team is sponsored by the largest no-compromise gun rights organization in America, the National Association for Gun Rights. After working with these guys for the last 5 years and serving as executive director of Palmetto Gun Rights, I can honestly say that there is no better organization to spend your money with than NAGR. After all, it was the National Association for Gun Rights and their state affiliate, Palmetto Gun Rights, that finally pushed constitutional carry across the finish line in South Carolina, my home state, as well as over 24 other states in the nation, and they're also fighting for the same pro-gun legislation in North Carolina right now. Not to mention a no-holds-barred attitude when it comes to holding anti-gun politicians accountable at the federal level, and an aggressive legal arm in the National Foundation for Gun Rights that's been kicking tail in the courts as well. So, click the link in the description and become a member for just $30 a year and squat up with the millions of other gun owners who are joining the front lines to defend the Second Amendment. But for now, back to the show. Now, like I said, there's a ton of variables that go into this. It also depends on how much you already have. If you work in an automotive shop, you probably already have a bunch of the tools, or maybe even just access to the tools you'll need. If you work as a telemarketer and you live in a studio apartment, your initial cost is probably going to be a lot higher. So to be specific, here's my situation. You take into consideration where you're wanting to go. So I'm getting started in dirt track racing in the upstate area of South Carolina. I'm starting out in the pure stock class, where parts are readily available and cheap, considering most of these cars are late 70s, early 80s Camaros, and Chevy basically made a freaking ton of parts interchangeable for more than 2 decades. So other similar cost classes might be the front wheel drive or Crown Vic. So I got a pretty sweet deal on mine. I paid right at about $4,000 for my car, and she was technically race ready but needed a few things fixed before I was comfortable putting it on the track, but we'll get to that in just a bit. Just research around on your local Facebook marketplace, you're going to find some good deals, but some of the cars you find for $4,000 are just going to be rollers though, meaning it's a car but it doesn't have an engine or transmission. And if you're just getting started or don't have a lot of mechanical skill or familiarity with the car in your class, I definitely recommend getting one as close to race ready as possible. That way, as things tear up, and you know they will, you'll at least be able to see how to put it back together. Now, next on the list is needing a trailer. We need a way to get to the racetrack. So the cost of these can vary greatly. You can get anything from just a simple open car trailer with ramps and no toolbox for pretty decently cheap, or you can find the ultimate tailgate weekend party rig to roll in with and pay a decent chunk of change, or something in between. Now, once again, I think I got a pretty good deal on this, as I was able to get an enclosed trailer with interior lights already wired in, tie downs, and a winch for just $4,200. Now, something to consider when deciding to buy an open or enclosed trailer, there's really 2 schools of thought here. If you crumple the car up and the fenders are sticking out or she's torn up, it's going to be a lot easier to get it on your open trailer. And if you do get an open car trailer, you also have to remember that's probably all you're going to use it for is that car. You get an enclosed trailer, you get to use it for anything, whether that be furniture or moving equipment or whatever else. It just has a lot more utility and possibly more resale value. And for me, I don't have a designated garage to work on this thing, so working on this particular trailer in the shade with a fan on sure beats the heck out of working on your back in the dirt. Another potential cost here is tires. If you're buying your trailer used, chances are you're going to need to go ahead and replace the tires. If you see any dry rot at all, it's only going to get worse, and you've just spent all your money on the car, all your money on this trailer, and you're putting your truck, the occupants of that truck, and other drivers at risk. So go ahead and replace the tires if you have any doubts at all. This potential cost adds up to around $500. And next, you got to make sure that your truck can actually tow whatever car you just bought, along with the weight of the trailer and the equipment you're bringing. It also helps if your truck has been outfitted with a tow package. Luckily, most modern full-size trucks have a lot more power than their older counterparts, and the towing capacities are actually pretty impressive. I've got a 2014 Ford F-150 with a Coyote 5.0, and it's capable of pulling it, but didn't have the towing package, which included trailer brake control module support. Now, to get one from Ford, and I would definitely go with factory equipment if possible, it's about $350, and then an additional $150 to program into the truck once you've installed it yourself. Now, you may not need this, or you may be towing with an older truck where an aftermarket solution is going to be fine, but for me, this added an additional $500. And when it comes to safety and guaranteeing my ability to stop while I'm driving down the road, it's absolutely well worth it. And also, since I'm just about maxing out my towing capacity, I also opted to add anti-sway bars for my hitch. Even though this cost an additional $500, it helped out a ton when it came to eliminating sway in the trailer and ensuring that I could actually get to the track without having any harrowing experiences on the way there. Another $500, but I really think this was worth it. Now, after this, if your trailer is wired, and you'll probably want it to be, a generator is going to be a great addition as well. You can run fans when it's hot, lights when it's dark, and of course, plug in your cell phone or Bluetooth speaker. You can spend probably anywhere from $200 to $1,000 on these, but mine ended up costing right at $500 used, and we're going to put that in the potential category in our total. So now that the sport has pretty much $500'd us to death, we're going to get to start spending less, but it definitely ain't over. For me, I already had a decent accumulation of tools already bought up, which is great. I already had a jack and stands and your standard wrench and socket set, so there's a decent chunk already acquired, but I still needed some parts and specialty tools to get the car ready. So for this section, if you're my wife, just go ahead, babe, skip ahead to whatever timestamp I've got linked right here. You know, it's probably going to be really boring for you, not interesting, but if you're anybody else, keep trucking along. Fuel pump, $22.99. New battery, $125.04. Lug nuts and studs for the trailer, definitely needed those, $77.76. Master cylinder for the brakes, $76.99. It was caked with mud and definitely needed to be replaced. Brake fluid, $23.98. Left rear wheel cylinder, $12.83. Universal joint, $19.99. What a deal. Rear differential pinion seal was $17.11. The gear lube from Amsoil was $41.55. Brake pads, $35.99. Miscellaneous grease and parts for said brake job, $52.38. Amsoil racing oil was $65, and the oil filter itself was $17.11. So, totaling up all my invoices, we're looking at a grand total of about $890, leaving roughly $250 of that for random tools, gaskets, kind of miscellaneous stuff like that. Now, during all this, I needed to change the oil, and I just want to go ahead and let you know I only use Amsoil in all my vehicles, and if you'd like to support my business, there's a link down below where you can buy any number of their lubricants, greases, and even detailing products. I also use Mudslinger to help clean up on the car after a race, so it's as easy as possible. Really excellent stuff as well for four-wheelers and side-by-sides. I believe Amsoil is the best when it comes to protection. It's actually a 65% better wear protection than the industry standard, and I like using it especially in applications where I'm going to be beating on the vehicle. So if you want the best of the best running in your vehicle as well, click below so you can get that same protection also, and sign up as a preferred customer for up to 25% off all the products and free shipping over $100. Now, last but not least, the safety equipment. Very important stuff. The helmet from Carolina Racing Supply ran about $276.95. The shoes cost about $89.95. From Summit Racing, the helmet support was $49, and the pants and suit were both $77.36 a piece, resulting in a grand total of $570. So, after the car, trailer, truck modifications, the extra tools, the toolboxes, repairs, parts, maintenance, all this stuff, we come to a grand total of $11,830. Now, this has the potential of looking massively different for you, but I hope it's at least enough to give you a ballpark estimate of the bare minimums. After all, a shop to work on your car, air compressors, top quality tools, brand new trailers, that's going to allow you to spend an infinite amount of money on whatever you want. But if you got 10 to 15K, this might be just enough to get you started. Just remember that you don't need every shiny thing in the world, and you could get away with spending even less than what I've outlined here. Now, of course, don't forget to sign up with the National Association for Gun Rights in the link below, and check out everything AMSOIL has to offer for you when you start your race team or just changing the oil in your daily driver. This is Tommy with Hitchagood Motors reminding you, take your youngins to the track this weekend.